We're at 6 and we are starting at 6 o'clock sharp. So welcome to the Shifted Plates second cooking class. I know some of you are part of the Shifted Plate. Some of you are probably either watching this live because you stumbled upon it, or maybe you're watching the recording. And in any case, we welcome you, and I'll just describe a little bit more about the Shifted Plate in case you're new to it. So Shifted Plate is a 16-week, 8-shift program where we try and help you get more familiar with cooking plant-based and using plant-based ingredients. So, 70% of people in our area are interested in reducing their meat consumption, and you do that by starting to get familiar with some of the ingredients for plant-based cooking. So all of our recipes are absolutely delicious, and we do a shift kickoff every 2 weeks. We did one on Monday morning and then a Wednesday cooking class, and then you got the opportunity to cook several other dishes with the special ingredient over the course of the 2 weeks. And you actually have access to all of these recipes throughout the 16 weeks, so you can cook them at any time. Many people have cooked a lot of recipes. In the background is my trusted colleague, Robin. Robin will be dropping stuff in the chat. You'll have some links and probably some stats around the environmental impact that our community has had just by cooking plant-based dishes. So I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but Robin, why don't you drop those in the chat? How much we did lentil love in the last 2 weeks, and we've had a ton of people cooking a bunch of stuff, and really we've taken a certain number of cars off the road. We have conserved bathtubs upon bathtubs of water and saved a bunch of money because we are being careful with the ingredients that we're cooking. Now I'm going to show you the Shifted Plate platform just so that everybody who is in this cooking class is aware what you need to do now to make sure that we're monitoring those statistics. Let's have a quick jump. And you can see here, this is what the Shifted Plate platform is going to look like when you log in. Robin will probably drop the link in the comments or in the chat. And you can see here, this is where we are. We're in this live cooking class. Now, what we're going to do today is our feature recipe, which is our 30-minute Crispy Tofu Stir-Fry. And I'm going to view this recipe, and I'm going to select it. And you know what? We're going to come back because I am cooking now. All right, I thought I'd start off by showing you the setup that I've got here. So if you've been getting the emails and reading them, you'll know that one of the things that is super important for making a quick weeknight meal, and also just in making it more enjoyable, is getting all of your prep done in advance. So I've got, I did this specially too because of the cooking class, but this is my regular setup I'm going to show you over here towards the stove. So I know when I get to the stove, I hate that when you have to go back and keep checking the recipe. So I put them in order of what we're doing. So I know when we get to the stir fry part, I've already put my sesame seed oil in here just because it's easier for me. But I know I'm doing my carrots and onions together. And after my carrots and onions, I know I'm going to do my broccoli and my beautiful red peppers. And then off the back of that, the last thing that's going to go in is my chickpeas. I know my tofu still has to cook, so it's going to go chickpeas and tofu, and I know the sauce goes in last because it has to cook. I'm going to show you my setup on the other side. All right, so I've got a sauce station where we're going to make the sauce. It's going to be so quick. Everything is just portioned together, but I did want to show you a few things, so I didn't make it ahead of time. Then I'm going to show you how I go about getting a coating on my tofu. So that's my tofu station. Everything is measured out. And over there is my plating station. And I'm going to say this more than once, but we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth. So we want to make sure that it looks good. I know it seems crazy, but just spending a little bit of extra time to get that dish looking good is super important. There's a chance that Robin pops down at some time if I start messing up the videography. So, watch out for that. You never know. Happened last time, although he didn't pop down and I cut off my head for about 5 minutes. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So let's get started. Let's jump in and get to the sauce. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and we'll go through this sauce part pretty quickly, right? Because it's a sauce. But there's a couple of things that I want to point out while I'm doing it. So we are going through and just everything's pre-portioned here. So that's just some tamari, some water. The water is a big complement to that cornstarch that's going to thicken things up for us. This is maple syrup. Again, if you like things a little sweeter, you can add a little more. If you like them less sweet, you can add a little less. That's sesame oil. And again, we're using that in the fry pan, and we've got sesame seeds. All of those flavors in the different spots are complementing each other. This is white wine vinegar. No, it's not. It is white rice vinegar. Rice vinegar, yeah. And we've got sesame seeds. Again, I had said that those are like everywhere. We've got some nice heat. You can always add more heat if you prefer more heat. Tamari, tamari tahini. This is another thing that I'm going to explain, because sometimes you'll get tahini sesame paste that is a little chunky, right? So you have to scrape it out of the bottom of the container. And if you do, it actually doesn't really whisk up very nicely. So the last time I made this, I was in that exact situation, and I actually popped it in the Magic Bullet. So just stick it in a blender, it's not a big deal. We're gonna pop in that cornstarch. You can use arrowroot flour or tapioca starch, just a thickener. The only thing that gets tricky is I wouldn't really use flour, because flour needs heat to be able to go in really nicely, otherwise it gets a little chunky. This is the other thing that I wanted to mention. So it takes a tablespoon of ginger, and for those of you who are like always worried about food waste like I am, we keep our ginger in the freezer. So comes home from the grocery store or the farmer's market, it goes in the freezer, and we grate it frozen. And little ones with a lot of skin on, I might paring knife some of the skin off before I do a little grating. But for the bigger pieces that just have skin on the outside, I use the skin too. So, I mean, that was a total cheat code for not seeing ginger go bad for us. Okay, and there we go. We just take this, pop it all in, and give this a whirl. And you just want to make sure that the flour, starch, whatever you're using, we used cornstarch, is mixed in, because that's going to get popped right over all of the vegetables. And again, if your tahini is a little lumpy, or if you're worried about lumps, pop it in the blender. Totally fine. Now I'm going to put this over here back in order, because, I had said it goes behind the chickpeas with the tofu. All right, so you can see, we're getting ready over here still, and let's get over to the tofu. So, tofu, and did I even say that? Yeah, I did. Our recipe tonight is that crispy tofu stir-fry. It's delicious. We actually made it 2 days ago. It's a really great treatment of tofu, because this is showcasing how you can make your tofu accept flavors in different ways. So here's just a plain old block of tofu. If you were to cook this, just throw it in the oven, even if you toss it with cornstarch and olive oil, it's not going to taste good. It is bland sort of by design. But the great thing about tofu is it accepts flavor really well. And the thing that you want to think about is surface area, right? So we're going to cut it into small blocks, so there's a lot of surface area to accept the flavor, right? So sometimes you can crumble your tofu. We will crumble it, mix it with some mayo and celery, a few other ingredients, and make sort of an egg salad with it. And that's like super tasty. You can actually freeze tofu, and it will get a lot more of the water out. It'll change the texture, which is super delicious. And I'll give you a few more tips once we actually put this in the oven. We want to get this cooking. So, but that's it. It's like to think about tofu, think about surface area. The more surface area, the more area to provide flavor. If you want to suck more flavor into it, you want to make sure that you get a little bit of water out of it. And I know some people will ask, like, have you pressed that tofu? No, I have not. We hardly ever press our tofu in this house. Because this is going in the air fryer. We actually have an air fryer in our oven. It's gonna crisp up beautifully. some of the time, if you do want to get a different texture, like a little bit more of a chewy texture, it's going to be important to press it. And I don't use a tofu press. I actually wrap it in just in a regular old dish towel and put a cast iron pan over top. So super easy. It sits like that for 10 minutes. You can see all the water comes out. So yeah, simple. Let's move down to how do you toss it so that it gets super nice and crispy. And the other thing that is going to be important is the size. Let's get rid of this stuff so that we can have some space here. And of course we want lots of space for the plating. All right, so let's move this over. Here we go. And you can see, I think in the recipe it says, might say 1/2 inch cubes. I wanted to make sure that it's not perfect, right? But I wanted to make sure that I had lots of little cubes because I do want to get it crispy before I throw it in the stir fry because it'll get a little wet in the stir fry. So if you look at the cut, I cut it in half along the length, and then you can just see it falling apart here. So then I just cut it half along the length, and then this way, and then this way. And let's pick one of these up closer to the camera so you can see. There you go. So you can sort of see, I guess those are about 1/2 inch. We're just going to pop them in here, mix them around. And I don't want the cornstarch all clumping all over the place, so I'll sort of, it's not going to cooperate with me, of course. But there we go. We'll sort of move it around. I'm going to actually do a little bit of a stir first off, because we're putting in the oil, which will be a little wet. And put on the oil, and we'll put on some salt. Again, if you're watching your salt, you might want to cut down on the salt, but I'm a salt fan. So there we go. We're mixing it all up. The beautiful thing about getting tofu crispy in the air fryer is that it takes like 7 minutes. And I know we have instructions in the recipe for people who don't have an air fryer and might want to put that in their oven. And I think maybe Robin can tell you how long you put it in your oven for, but I'm guessing it's a little bit longer, but not super long. So this is an important piece too. You want room around the tofu cubes because you want air getting on all sides. All right. I would use our air fryer up on the counter, but sometimes it takes out our power. We're in a 140-year-old house, and even though we've had our electrical upgraded, sometimes it just takes out power, and that's not good for a live cooking class. So there we go. You can see I've made space here between everything. I am going to pop that in the oven for a total of 7 minutes. And during that 7 minutes, we are going to start cooking. All right, so I'm just going to do a little stop and check in. You don't have to watch me put this in the oven, but trust that I am doing it. I'm going to move you back a little bit. And just wanted to make sure that everybody's doing okay. I know some people will be cooking along. Some people will have been watching the recording. So whatever the case may be for you, if there's anything about that first part that you'd like clarification on, no problem at all. Robin can jump in and answer any of the questions that you have. And in the interim, we are going to go over to the stove. All right. So I've got one of these great induction stoves. You probably heard me complain about it a little bit last time because, I wasn't really thinking that if I had the buttons on the front, I would lean against it while I was cooking. But yeah, it's a problem. All right. So there we go. But the thing that is fantastic about it is how fast it actually boils. I'm not going to boil quite yet because I just put these in the oven. Those induction stoves, they cook really fast and heat up really fast, which is fantastic. But I'm just setting the timer for 7 minutes. So let me just concentrate for 1 second. There we go. Timer for 7 minutes, so we'll know when to pull out those that tofu cubes. Yeah, so I've got buckwheat noodles that I'm using. They take 5 minutes to cook. And fun fact, buckwheat is actually not wheat at all. It is a seed. It's quite healthy, and a lot of the times your soba noodles are going to be made with buckwheat. And the thing that You'll want to remember, though, if you are thinking, oh, wait, great, it's, there's no wheat, it's probably gluten-free. Usually there is wheat in the commercially produced buckwheat noodles. So just something to watch, or look at the label. I'm not an expert on buckwheat noodles by any stretch. We quite like them, though, but they take 5 minutes to cook. So I'm going to time this so that they're ready. We know the tofu is going to be ready in about 7 minutes. And in terms of timing, I don't want the noodles to be done and sitting because they get a little sticky, even though like sometimes we'll throw a little bit of sesame oil on it. So I'd rather, time it a little closer to when the stir fry is going to be ready. And I know I've got 7 minutes there, plus those are going to go in for about 4 minutes. All right, let's get down to it. Okay, I'm going to turn you onto the stove, and you can see here what's going on. Let me move you a little bit closer. There we go. All right, so we're turning our cooktop on, and if you haven't seen the magic of these induction stoves, here it goes. I'm just turning this on. I've already got my sesame oil here, and I'm just gonna grab my handy bench scrape. I don't know if anybody uses these little guys. It was actually my daughter who got me into them. I love them. They're so great for like picking up ingredients and plopping them in. But I can already see that the oil is almost immediately starting to heat up. You can see the color of it change. So it's not like those pans where you really have to wait. We do want to wait until it's hot enough so it's like sizzling. But it really does not take long. If you can see, it's already starting to change a little bit of color there. And hopefully I don't eat my words by the time I pop these in. I'm going to wait for like 5 more seconds and then pop them in, and I think it's ready to go. Yeah, I can see the smoke. There we go. And let's turn that down right away. And like I said, I know I'm going in order. My carrots go in with my onions. And I'm being careful all along here, just not to let anything burn. So everybody's stove is a little bit different. So just, playing with the temperature, making sure that, your stove isn't getting too hot. One of the things for, any sort of slicing like this with the carrots, it's important to make sure that you get them as uniform as you can so that they cook at about the same rate. And we are trying to keep these relatively crunchy. So it's not like we really want to, let everything get super soft. I mean, these are yellow onions, so we want some heat on them so that they don't taste too, yellow oniony. Yeah, so we're just going to let that sit. I think we do maybe 4 minutes here, 3 or 4 minutes before we put in the peppers and the broccoli and get our other stuff ready to go. It does start happening pretty quickly. We've only got 3 minutes left on those tofu cubes. So you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet here, and I am going to turn on my boiling water for my soba noodles. And one of the things that I'll also mention, kitchen hack, is it actually boils even faster when you've got the lid on. So, saves energy. I'm going to use the super boiler. I also, you don't have to do this, but I did actually weigh out my pasta using a scale. So just to make sure that I got everything sort of coming together with the right quantity. And a little bit too much heat on that carrot? No, that's just something else. All right. So I think we've had enough time with those guys. And again, it's a stir fry, so we want some crunch, some vibrant colors and all that sort of stuff. This is all going in at once. Oh yeah, I did want to show you this other thing. So again, if we're talking about food waste, lots of people throw out their stalks. Like this even looks pretty. These stalks are just fine, right down until almost the end. Some people will peel them. I don't. I just throw them in. It'll still look nice and it'll taste great. I could even eat one of those right now and it would be absolutely delicious. So I'm going to take this. There you go. And we've got about 4 minutes of stirring this. So you don't really need to watch me stir. I'm going to come back and we can chat a little bit more about tofu. Woo-hoo! Yeah, enjoy that ride. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, so tofu. So we've got, oh, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I'm square on here. There we go. So tofu, we talked about, you know, do you press or not to press, potential surface area exposure, so cutting small chunks when you want some crispy small bits. You can crumble, you can shred tofu. You can also marinate tofu, of course, and if you do that, you'll want to give it some time to suck the flavors in. You can also boil tofu. A lot of the times it's included in things like a miso soup. Usually that's like a medium firm, or sometimes even a soft tofu that they'll do in a miso soup. But like lots of different textures and ways to prepare it. I'm just going to go and have a look at those tofu blocks in the oven because they might want to be turned. If they were in the air fryer up here, I'd just give them a good hard shake. But I can see that, yeah, we've got some crispiness going on. I'm going to leave these in for more than 7 minutes. And we're going to keep stirring here. There's our 7 minutes, but we're going to keep going. So I know those are going to work out perfectly. I don't want to let this cook too long. I'm pretty sure we're going for about 6 minutes on that. And our noodles are almost ready. Everything is coming together. All right, the other thing that I will say about tofu, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is tearing it is one of the really great ways to make it a little different, right? So you see tofu in like those square little cubes. When you tear tofu, it actually, can make it more like a nugget of some sort, right? And if you want to do that pressing technique or freeze and thaw, that can change the texture on the tofu to make it a little bit chewier. I'm just watching this. Oh, look, I actually leaned on this and turned off my stove. There we go. So turning my stir fry back on. There we go. All good. All good. And if you check out the ShiftedPlate platform that Robin linked earlier, you'll see there's a bunch of different recipes there. So tonight we're cooking the Crispy Tofu Stir-Fry, delicious crispy tofu. In the additional recipes in the platform, if you're not signed up, go ahead and sign up now. You'll get a recipe for a bunch of different things. So I know we have one in there for a deli meat, which is great. You actually just use a peeler on it and marinate it in some delicious ingredients. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes because I don't want these noodles to boil or to get too soft. And that's going to be good there. And there should be 4 or 5 other tofu recipes in there. So there's a buttered chicken that we love. It's so delicious. And feel free to grab any of those. And that's what the Shifted Plate is all about, right? So we do this one featured dish that we think is a really good example how you can make the featured ingredient taste delicious. And then at your own pace over the next 2 weeks, you cook 1 or 2 other dishes out of the list that have the featured ingredient in it. And before you know it, it's familiar, right? It's something that you would include on repeat in your weekly plan, or if you were like just staring into the fridge wondering, what should I make for dinner? You've got a block of tofu and it's not intimidating. You could whip up something plant-based, no problem. I just almost boiled over there. All right, so let's get back down and have a look at what's going on over here. So I think we've been cooking these veggies for long enough. You can still see they're gorgeous. They look great. And we're getting to the point now where we're going to add in our chickpeas and our sauce. I'm going to give another little stir too. And I am hoping that our delicious tofu cubes are looking good. So I just need to move you back a little bit. There we go. And they are, can you see that? Yep, really nice and crispy. If I wasn't doing a cooking class, I would probably let them stay in there a little bit longer. They're just not quite as crispy as I like them. Might be the setting, but they're still going to be delicious because they're going to absorb a lot of the sauce that we're going to put in there. And we put in the tofu at the same time that we put in those chickpeas. I'm going to put in this hot pan in my sink. And let's toss in the chickpeas. There we go. And get this stirred up. I know it's like a lot, isn't it? It's amazing. It's like such a generous portion when you know you've got foods that are like nutrient rich like this. Yeah, they're not as calorie dense. Get to eat a little bit more. It's my favorite thing. All right. Okay, so there we go. Let's go over to this sauce. We're going to put the sauce in, and because of that cornstarch, it's going to get nice and thick. So it's going to look a little runny when we put it in, and those chunks are not chunks of tahini or chunks of the cornstarch. They are garlic chunks. I had to turn up the stove a little bit just to get that going, and this is going to thicken up. I know it doesn't seem like it's going to right now, but trust me, it's happening. So there we go. It'll happen in just a couple of minutes. I'm just going to sit that there. And we are getting close to these soba noodles being done. I want to be conscious of not overcooking them. Let's do a quick test. Let's do a quick test just to make sure. All right, maybe another minute. They're so good. And you can either take them out using like a pasta spider, you know these guys, or you can strain them. I'm going to strain mine, and I'm actually going to veer away from what we talked about, or what it says in the recipe, which is tossing it in this pan, first of all, because I have no room in my pan. But also, it's just an alternative way. You can either toss your pasta into your noodles into your stir fry, or you can actually put the stir fry goodies on top of the pasta, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on top. I'm just letting this this sauce thicken up, and it only takes 1 or 2 minutes. And you know, you should really taste as you go. So I got a little taste over here on the side. Oh my gosh, that sauce is so good. Woo. Delicious. All right, and we want to make sure those chickpeas are all nice and heated up too, because they just came out of the can. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention to you. Little known fact, if you strain the juice from a can of chickpeas, this is called aquafaba. And you can use it as an egg replacement in baking. You can whip it into meringues. You can use it in a whiskey sour if that's your jam. But it's fantastic. I mean, you can't make scrambled eggs with it, but it's a great, also very cheap egg replacement for baking. All right, let's go back down here. Almost done. Yeah, you see that? It's getting nice and thick underneath, and it's going to thicken as it sits. There we go. All right, I'm turning this off. I don't want to overcook anything. Keeping it nice and vibrant is like one of the key bits of this. All right, so we're pretty much ready for our most important part, which is the plating step. And I'm actually just going to go and strain this, like I mentioned. All right. Sorry for the noise. Strain it, bring it back over. And let's move over to our plating area here, just so that you can see how everything comes together. Now you don't have to use soba noodles, you can use other noodles. I think that we give you some suggestions in the platform as well if you don't have soba noodles. There's plenty of other noodles that would work. You can throw this on rice, right? It's delicious. So whatever works for you. So let's come over here. That's our random tofu. And again, I'm sure this is like the 10th time I've probably said this, but plating makes such a difference. It's like especially if you're trying to eat plant-based or get people on board with eating plant-based and, you know, maybe they're a little hesitant. Making it look good, so important. This is going to look gorgeous because we've got all of these beautiful, beautiful vegetables, which I'm going to move over here so that I can control what's going on. Now, dealer's choice on this, I could have stirred in the cashews and the basil. So, but you know what? I might just toss the, I'm going to toss the cashews in here. You can see me doing that? Yeah, just tossing them in here. Just to make sure that they're sort of distributed. They'll stay beautiful as we move them over. Yeah, that was a bit of a fail. There we go. All right. Because we do have a lot of garnishes on this. And of course, you're probably not using your fingers when you're plating for your family, but I'm going to. So there. Let's get like a nice bunch of vegetables on here. Make sure we got it. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, it looks so good. There. And if you need to, oh my gosh, that is so delicious. If you need to spoon out a little bit more of the sauce, you can do that. The vegetables, everything is a little bit more coated than you might think. You know, have a taste of it. But if you do want to, you know, spoon out a little bit of extra sauce over the top, that's totally a great idea. And now here, can you see that there? Like already looking pretty decent, right? But we're gonna add on some of these basil, a little bit of basil here. And that doesn't really show up. We're gonna add up some scallions. You sort of get a view of that. And the thing that's gonna pop on here is the additional sesame seeds. It's gonna show up against the green, right? Yeah, does that not look amazing? It looks so good. Okay, so lucky me, I get to just taste this in front of you to make sure, you know, I got a quality check, right? So let's do a quick test. And chopsticks or no chopsticks, I might embarrass myself, but let's have a taste here. Oh yeah, that's really good. Crunchy. My hair was good too. I had a little taste of that. Crunchy, delicious. The tofu, it really absorbs up that sauce. It like sticks to the outside. So good. But that's it. That is our cooking class for tonight. I wanted to thank everybody for coming. And again, if you're just randomly coming across this video, this is part of the Shifted Plate Program, which is a 16-week program to help you get more familiar with cooking plant-based and adding a few plant-based dishes into your week. I'm Christy Sadler from Zesty Plan. And for all of you who are in our second week or a second shift of the Shifted Plate, which is Tofu Magic, enjoy this wonderful dish, and I hope you get to add it into your regular rotation. Go ahead and try out a few more of the dishes in the platform, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that tofu is truly a magic ingredient. Okay, that's it for tonight.